Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second round of the GTR3 Endurance Series. My name is Sebastian Gerhardt, and I hope we will have a very interesting race tonight, because we are in Australia. We are on the Mount Panorama circuit in Bathurst, a very traditional racetrack and a very challenging one. We still have some time till the qualifying again, since the last race, which was in May. It's a really long time since we had this first race of the GTR3 Endurance Series, and it was on the Sachsenring. So it's still a very international field, though there are some changes between the last time. There are no real series points or something like this. It's not a championship. And what are these drivers are going for, you might ask? There will be points awarded after this race, 1000 virtual racing points, and they can be used to buy things from Race Room Racing Experience. If you don't have one particular race car or racetrack, you can buy it using these points instead of money. But these points will be... Christian Seidel with a heavy crash. That was a big one. Slammed his Mercedes SLS heavy in the wall. So we will switch our camera perspective. These points will be awarded via lottery, so that means it doesn't matter which position you will finish on. That's not the point. It's about just finishing at all, and everybody who sees the checkered flag will have a chance to win 1000 virtual racing points. So this might be very interesting even for the slower drivers, because they still can win these points. We have a kind of a big grid, even though it's not as big since the last race. 26 drivers are did sign up for tonight. I'm not sure if maybe someone didn't make it. There's always someone who might drop out in the last few minutes. I will check again. And yeah, there's someone, but I can't figure out because he uses a nickname in the forum, which makes things a little different to figure out who actually dropped out in the last few minutes. Anyway, it's 24 drivers on the server right now. You can only see 20 in the list. That's because the last 4 drivers have no lap time at the moment, and then they are not shown in the standings on the left side. Dominic Pieper, this time he is driving a Chevrolet Camaro. He had the McLaren on the Sachsenring and won the race due to a better pit strategy. Second place was Mark Davies, and on third Ralph Arella, but I have to check if Mike Davies is there, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and he's driving Ford GT. So he switched from BMW Z4 to the Ford. There's no strict order which car you have to use during the entire series. You can choose freely. So I guess some drivers might change their car decision because of the track, because Bathurst is quite different to the Sachsenring. And especially it's quite long in comparison. And the cars with very high top speed and or more power might have the advantage, because it's going uphill right after the first corner, and then it goes downhill. One of the fastest straights there are when it comes to racetracks. Because you are driving downhill, and that makes the car even faster. Fastest driver at the moment, excuse me, Alexander Dorniden. Yeah, and that's interesting because he doesn't show up in the latest grid list I got my hands on, so that's a bit strange, but it's okay. So someone who's not on the list is the fastest on the track right now, Alexander Dorniden with an Audi R8. Second one, Josh de Werder. We already saw him on the Sachsenring. And it's interesting because on the Sachsenring he wasn't so fast. He finished on 10th position. Now he is in second place in the practice. So this might be interesting when it comes to the qualifying. Christian Seidel, we already saw him when he crashed into the S's, or when it comes from Skyline into this very, very interesting chicane. We, of course, will take a look at that later. Maybe in the qualifying we will go into the dashboard camera and take a look on this track for everybody who doesn't know what's going on Bathurst. I hope sound and picture are alright. There can always be some issues, so if there are, please just let me know. I'm taking a look in the chat on Twitch, so if there are some problems or you notice something that's not okay, just let me know and I will do what I can to fix it. Oh, and there is a spin from the Mustang driver, and that's Tariq Uzali, who switched to the... No, it's not Camaro, of course, it's the Ford Mustang. I think he's the only one driving that car, or is there someone? There's someone else, Leo Kuhn. Leo Kuhn driving another Ford Mustang. But that should be it. Christian Seidel just made it up to second position, and now he and Alexander Dornin got beaten by Robert Wiesenmüller. Well, I know him from other German racing series, and he is one of the fastest there are, so it's not that kind of a surprise that he drove the fastest lap in this practice, but the qualifying might come up with some surprises. Jeremy Moog. We all also saw him on the race on the Sachsenring, but he switched cars too. He's now on the Chevrolet Corvette. And here we are in the qualifying. So, if you're not familiar with the schedule for tonight, we have this qualifying for half an hour, and then there will be no warm-up. We'll go straight into race at approximately 8:07 or 8:10, something around this. And we will have a 120 minutes race, 2 hours. That's why it's called Endurance Series. That's quite a big distance for race room racing experience, because you can't change drivers. That's the big difference to, well, let's see, maybe R-Factor, where you have those endurance races, 24-hour races where you can switch drivers. That doesn't work here in race room racing experience. So 2 hours straight. For some, this is quite a big distance, especially those who are more used to sprint races, touring car racing with much lower distances. Markus Walter and a BMW Z4, followed by one of the French drivers, Michael Belay, if I'm not mistaken, in the McLaren. Here we are. Yeah, it's a bit strange. He is using team name for his name on the racetrack, so this can be a little confusing. We saw this on the Sachsenring too. But I'm not sure who was the first one to exit the pits and who might be the one with the first fastest lap. We will see today. Mount Panorama circuit, very, very long, about 6.2 kilometers, which makes 3.8 miles long, and so it takes a while to get around this racetrack, and that limits the laps you can drive during the qualifying. So if you make, like, let's say 2 mistakes in your first attempts of driving a fast lap during the qualifying, and you have to go to the pits again because of damage on your car, and the Frenchman already crashed into the wall in the cutting. That's what this part of the racetrack is called. So you have to go out again, and just the in-lap will take you more than 2 minutes, and then you can drive your fast lap, or maybe your fast laps. Depends on your tires. Well, and there's an Audi standing at the wall. Should be one of the fast guys from the practice. Alexander Dorniden. And there's Michael Handke, one of the few, or the only one tonight who's driving the Roof RT12R. So from the South German tuning company that uses Porsche bodies for their cars. Mike Davis in the Ford GT sets the first fastest lap with 2:04, and where's Michael Handke? Oh, about 5 seconds behind. And now the times are dropping in. Markus Walter with the BMW Z4 with at the moment it would be the pole position, and it's interesting because he is this is about as fast as Robert Wiesenmüller was driving in the practice, so we can already see that the lap times will be a little faster in this qualifying. Just let's take a look at Wiesenmüller in his Bentley Continental GT3. Oh, and that didn't work out so well. The chase, this very, very interesting chicane. And I guess he lost some time here. Will still be enough. No, third position after his first lap, but he made a mistake outside of the chase and lost some time in the gravel. Dominic Pieper on second place now with his Camaro, and there's the next one coming in. It's Christian Seidel now on fourth starting position in his Mercedes. Mike Davies on fifth now. Thomas Horn, another Ford GT. So right now we have 2 Ford GTs in the third starting line. Yeah, and I just read in the chat that there are no technical issues, so thanks for the information. So let's stay with Thomas on because he's on the way to his personal best and just dropped it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Saved the car from the wall, but I don't think this was very good for his lap time. Oh, he's still faster than in his fastest lap so far. So there might have been some other mistake in his last lap. About more than a second behind Mike Davies, who now broke the 2 minute and 3 seconds limit. Oliver Kilian just moved up to 6th position, and there's Thomas Horn now on 4th. So there can still be a lot of change in the starting positions, as we can see. Let's switch to some of the drivers who didn't set a lap time by now. Jan Stange just started his first timed lap, so we will stay with him. And his McLaren MP4 12C. Oh, and that was a classical mistake, and now he's in the way of a lot of drivers. Tariq Uzali in his Ford Mustang slammed into the wall, And Stange, of course, doesn't want to press escape, but maybe now this would be, well, a good idea. Drivers are allowed to do that, but Tarek Uzali, who is responsible for this whole event, recommended to not to do it because it doesn't look so nice, but it's allowed. So Jan Stange, it might have been a good idea to use escape at this special occasion, so we won't destroy any lap times of other drivers. For example, Tarek Uzali, who hits the wall again, so maybe something was damaged when he crashed into the wall the first time. You can see his Ford Mustang is already quite damaged. But he's not going to the pits. He wants to set a lap time. So I think he wants to set a lap time to that there at least is one on the list. And the really fast lap times, he can go for it after going into the pits, I guess. Next lap. So we're now on Mountain Straight. So I'll just check if we can get a nice camera perspective. There's something a little wrong with our cameras. No, it's not wrong. We don't have so many perspectives to choose, so we take the roof camera. Now we're through cutting. That was the point when he slammed into the wall by avoiding where do we have him? Jan Stange. Now already going through Salmon Park, another corner where you can easily hit the wall. McPhillamy Park to Skyline, and this is very tricky chicane. Downhill, right, left hander, and then the S's. Right, left, right. You can kind of go dizzy driving through these walls. Now through Forest's Elbow, and classic mistake he did in the last lap already. And the interesting thing is it's called Forest's Elbow, but it has nothing to do with trees or anything. There was a motorcycle racer with the name Forest, 2 R's, and when he fell down, he crushed his elbow, so that's why this turn is called Forest's Elbow. Now we went down the Conrad Straight, fastest straight on the track, and then through the chase, that was the chicane. And now Murray's Corner, final corner on to the start and finish line. And that's an interesting spot because on the right side you can see this little bit of grass, and when you come out the final corner you always tend to slide into the grass, and this has sometimes decided races in when the first 2 drivers were fighting for the victory, and then someone made this slight mistake in the end, just sliding out of Murray's Corner, losing grip on the grass, and then the other one passes him just like 50 meters in front of the start and finish line. Maybe we will see something like this today. Still some drivers without lap times. Leo Kuhn. I know Leo Kuhn. I think he's one of the drivers who was just waiting and start the race from behind. Joe Snyder, the Dutchman, in the BMW Alpina B6. One of the oldest GT3 cars, but it's allowed to use. And Tim Hallmann and a BMW Z4. these 3 drivers still don't have a lap time, and there was a fourth, in the beginning we had 24 drivers, now it's only 23 on the server. I don't know who left, but let's go back to the action on the racetrack. Oliver Kilian. He was in 6th position after his first fastest lap, now dropped down to 12. But it's very, very close when it comes to lap times at the moment. First 6 drivers within 1 second. And on Bathurst this is quite close, because the longer the track gets, usually you can do more mistakes, and of course this has an impact on your lap times. You can see the same on Spa-Francorchamps when you watch races there. The lap times also differ a lot more than on shorter racetracks, and Spa-Francorchamps of course is even a little bit longer than Mount Panorama. Still 12th position for Oliver Kilian. Checking for some drivers we didn't have in our camera perspective so far, and it's Chris Johnston. The driver from the US, and of course he chose the Chevrolet Corvette. Also seemed to have some slight contact, maybe with the wall, maybe with some other driver. We will see sometimes that these cars won't be repaired even if the drivers make a pit stop. That's a slight bug in the game or the simulation. So it sometimes misses to fix the damaged body as we can see it, but the car is alright for the driver. It just looks damaged, but it isn't anymore. Jamie Moog, 3rd position, made his way up. Edgar Steffens, he kept to his Alpina B6. Had an interesting fight on the Sachsenring, even though it was for, I think, 13th position or something like this. Still had a very interesting fight. And earned some positions in the last few laps. So I wonder if we will see the same from him again tonight. It depended a lot on his pit strategy. So I wonder how the drivers will make their pit stops this time. Still some more information, of course, when it comes to the race. There are a tire wear of 2 times, so the tires disintegrate much faster than usually. So there is a mandatory pit stop, but I don't think, it's very important because the drivers will have to pit anyway. It just won't work with the tires. Ralf Varela in his Z4. Now on the Sachsenring he finished on 3rd position, and he had also some issues with his tires in the last few laps, if I'm not mistaken. This time he seems to be a bit far away from a good starting position. Even though it's about 1.6 seconds difference to Mike Davies. Ah, thanks to the chat. We know what happened to the 24th car. Christian Moreau, I hope I spelled it right, dropped out because some connection issues. So thanks for the information. I'm not checking the forum every few minutes, so thanks to the chat we know what happened. So there will be only 23 drivers tonight, while Tim Hallmann now is out on the track. The German driver who, I guess, left out to inform the game in which country he's living. You can choose that in the beginning if you set up your profile for Race Room Racing Experience, and I guess he just didn't want everybody to know where he's coming from, but I'm telling you, he's from Germany. Still on his in-lap, so let's wait and check for some other drivers. Andy Goodwin. Actually, another driver who's not on my list at the moment. So I'm sorry, but that was the final list that is there on in the forum, so some names are missing and some other names are showing up. So it's good to see that there were some replacements, obviously, for this race tonight. But maybe, if you're just wondering where this kind of stumbling English is coming from, I guess a few who are watching now know me from some German series I'm commentating, but tonight, because it's on Sector 3 and we have such an international audience, I will stick to English. I apologize for any slight mistakes. Mostly I recognized them after I did them, so I would try my best to entertain you tonight as good as possible as side of the entertainment. These drivers hopefully will show us. And Andy Goodwin somewhere cut the corner. I think it was in Skyline. That's why his time stopped. But there's someone else on the track who's trying again to get a better starting position, and that's André G. Again on a Bentley Continental GT3, as he was on the Sachsenring. He was waiting in the pits a long time. He set one fast lap and then he just kind of stopped, and I don't know what he did. Smoke a cigarette or had something to eat before the race. I don't know. But now he is out again on another try. But lost some time in the second sector, so I don't think we will see a faster lap time from him. and he knows that he's just well 27 seconds 27 thousandths of a second, sorry, behind Edgar Steffens. So even a slight increase in his lap time will already result in 14th position in this qualifying, but I don't think he will make it. No, this lap really didn't work out. Lost another 3 seconds in the third sector. So let's check for some of the other drivers. Alexander Dorniden by now on pole position in his Audi R8. In front of Robert Wiesenmüller in the Bentley, Mike Davies on third in the Ford GT, Markus Walter in the pits right now. You can see below the name tag there's no time running, so we will go further up to or down to Mike Davies, and he had a total absolute best lap time or sector time, but now there's someone in his way and that will destroy his lap time, I'm afraid. Yes, it does. And that's the Ford GT of Lammert Moog. Well, that's the problem on Bathurst. There are the S's. Where should he go? There's no way for Lammert Moog in his Ford GT to make room or enough room for Mike Davies. So you can't blame him. It's the most difficult and narrowest part of the racetrack. And Mike Davies just got stuck in traffic. Well, let's see. If there's the chance on this next fast lap. Jan Stange just going through the grass to let everyone pass. Well, that's a nice rhyme. And now Mike Davies right behind Alexander Dorniden, the current pole sitter. Mike Davies 65 thousandths of a second faster than Dorniden in the first sector, but it depends on the second and third sector. The first one is not so difficult. Just a few corners you have to master and then you can be very quick, but this one is over for Mike Davies, and that means there won't be another fast lap from him. Yeah, that's it. No more time in this qualifying, and so we are switching to some other drivers. Dorniden is still on the track, Wiesenmüller too, and here we have Jeremy Moog in his Corvette. But as you can see, something went terribly wrong in the first sector. I don't know what this is. Seemed to... I guess he parked his car somewhere and didn't made a pit stop. Looks a bit strange. So let's see what Wiesenmüller is doing. Can he beat Dorniden in his last fast or quick lap he can do in this qualifying? 2 minutes remaining. That means this is his last chance. Exactly the same sector best as Mike Davies in the first sector. 56 thousandths of a second. And we will get the time for the second sector in or just right now, and he lost some time to Alexander Dorniden, and I'm afraid that's it. I think he would need some magic now to beat Dornieden's lap time. I guess he will set his braking spot as late as possible. A little bit through the grass in the chase. Oh, but he could do it. No, didn't work out. Lost a little bit more time in the third sector. So Robert Wiesenmüller will stay on second position in this qualifying. Thomas Horn, Oliver Kilian, these guys are on the track, but I think they're just maybe testing their race setup, because now we're in the final lap on the last lap of this qualifying, and usually we will switch automatically to the race in about 30 seconds. It depends on when the drivers... Well, and that's already been it. Now we are in this 1-minute garage session, and we won't see any names and anything or something else, so don't be afraid that maybe our overlay or something is broken. That's just normal. We have to wait until this garage session is over. It gives the drivers a little bit more time to adjust maybe the last few bits on their setup and then join into their starting position. So here we are. Oh, and I was already afraid that Jeremy Moak wouldn't make it, but there he is in his Corvette. And that's also normal that we can't see the cars for a little moment. And here we are. So, formation lap, flying start. So we have some time until this race really starts. Drivers are forced to keep a limit about 160 kilometers per hour. Or that's what Alexander Dornieden has to take care of. Not to drive too fast. I'm 60 kilometers per hour, which is about 100 miles per hour. Just for you. With the metric system, I will try to keep you informed, so you don't need your calculator to find out what kind of speeds or distance I'm talking about. After the chase, the final chicane, the drivers are or have to go into double file. And Alexander Dornieden will activate his pit limiter, and exactly at the start finish line he can switch it off and hit the throttle, and the race is started for everyone. So no one has to wait till the start finish line. When he starts the race, it goes on for everybody. Oh, and I see still some more people showing up in the chat, so welcome to everyone who joined us in the last few minutes. You're right on time for the start of the second round of the GTR3 Endurance Series on Sector 3. Tonight on Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst in Australia. There are 22 cars tonight. We lost someone else. I can't actually say who it is right now. Maybe we will find out later. But 22 drivers. And there will be some interesting fights. But now we will see hopefully a good start without any crashes, because that's an issue here in Mount Panorama, and the race is started. Alexander Dorniden already made some slight distance, and there are some position changes but nothing seriously happened. Yeah, everything looks fine. Yeah, everyone made it through held corner. The first corner very, very tricky in the beginning, but they made it. No crash by now. Everybody is just fine, except for Jos Snyder. The Dutchman seemed to have a problem. Yeah, slight crash. Obviously, in the beginning, maybe ran off the track. So, I have to take it back. We have kind of one casualty right at the start of the race. But there will be enough time for Jos Snyder to get back into the race. He already closed the gap. About 2 seconds to Tim Hallmann. Dorniden and Wiesenmüller. There's already a slight gap between them and Jeremy Moog. But of course, in the S's during the race, you try to be a little more or drive a little more defensive. A little more carefully, so you don't crash your car at the moment. But there is a crash. Leo Kuhn spun out in his Ford Mustang, and looks like it's in the S's. That's interesting. It's not in Skyline, obviously. It's inside the S's. Maybe he got a slight tip on the back. I don't know. A slight tap. And looks like his steering is damaged. But he is still in the race. So, interesting. Jeremy Moog can keep up with Dorniden and Wiesenmüller. So, it's a three-man fight at the head of the field. And then there's Dominic Pieper in his Camaro in front of Oliver Kilian. Two of the big beasts on 4th and 5th position. And Kilian almost slammed Pieper in the back. Had to go wide to avoid a crash. And Markus Walter and Thomas Horn behind him. Oh, well, Thomas Horn is losing a little bit, but Markus Walter, whoa, that was kind of a jump. And I think he hit the wall at least slightly after this stunt. Jumping over the curbs. Oh, and Kilian seems to have some problems when it comes to turning into the corners, especially the sharp corners. Some understeering with his Camaro, and that gives Dominic Pieper some time to widen the gap. But of course now there is the slipstream working, and Thomas Horn shot himself on the left side of Markus Walter, but he didn't try it in the end and made a slight mistake with losing 2 positions. Thomas Horn outside of the chase seemed to hit the curbs a little bit. Obviously with his left side tires, and that made him almost spin out. Oh, and there is some connection issue with Christian Seidel. He's showing up and disappearing all the time. You can see that. It's the Mercedes SLS, the chrome and orange painted Mercedes. But looks like it's okay now. He wouldn't be the first one with kind of these issues in Race Room Racing experience. You can see this sometimes if you're into this racing simulation and you are already had some races online, or maybe there are some of the viewers who know these simulation from other live streams. It's nothing new. And Thomas Horn with a next problem, and he slid out into the grass and loses another position to Chris Johnson, the US driver, and big crash. And that's Jan Stange in his McLaren. Spun out and now he's driving into the opposite direction. Hopefully there doesn't come anyone. No, Andy Goodwin is far enough behind to see what's going on. Jan Stange, very bad place to spin out. And a lot of damage on this car, and a lot of positions he lost after that. 15th position right now. I think he was on 10th or even 8th position, I think. Yeah, 10 minutes into this race and we already have some drivers with technical problems on their car. Let's go back further up to Oliver Kian on 5th position, following Dominic Pieper. But no changes here. Markus Walter can't keep up. Maybe there's some more damage on his BMW Z4 after his jump through Frog Hollow. That's how this part of the track is called. We will see it again just about now. But now Markus Walter is back in the game, so it looks like that the Camaro is a little bit faster on the straight. But when it comes to the curvy part on top of the hill, the BMW Z4 has the advantage, but that's a big problem now for Markus Walter, because he gets closer during driving through all these tricky corners, through the S's, but as soon he gets out on the straight, he is kind of lost. Pieper and Kilian just pulling away very, very quick. And there seemed to be another problem. I'm not sure. Oh no, everything's fine. Some position changes, somewhere around position 11 if I'm not mistaken, but that's it. Oh, and Jost Schneider just dropped down to last position and got overtaken by Leo Kuhn. So change in positions at the end of the field. But now we're going back to the fight for first position. And Wiesenmüller can keep up with Alexander Dorniden. Just lost some time in the last lap, I think. It was below 1 second all the time. Now it's a bit more than a second. So maybe a slight mistake from Robert Wiesenmüller. While there are again some connection issues with Christian Seidel. That's because you see on 7th position the name always dropping and getting back on the right position. That's because he seems to disappear from the track and then show up again. I hope this is just kind of a problem that we have and not the drivers who are right behind him. It's hard to tell from our perspective. It looks a bit like this fight just came to an end. Dorniden is now getting faster and faster, or maybe it's Wiesenmüller who's a little bit slower than in the first 15 minutes. So we will take a look further back, and again the same issue with Christian Seidel, but there's Chris Johnston followed by Thomas Horn. And the next problem, and that's something else we have to talk about, because you see the damage on this Mercedes SLS of Christian Seidel. This car, I'm pretty sure, isn't that damaged when he is looking out of his cockpit. That's because what we are seeing is the calculation of the simulation, how we would see the car crash. So if some car loses the connection and we still see the car moving and it hits the wall, but the one who's driving it doesn't hit the wall, he won't see any damage, but we get the information that the car visually hit the wall and is damaged. So there might be the situation that we see some damaged cars that aren't really damaged, but there is a fight between Dominic Pieper and Oliver Kilian. Must have been a slight mistake of Pieper, or maybe Kilian came closer to him due to the slipstream on the Conrad straight. Anyway, Kilian up to 4th position. He made it in front to Dominic Pieper. So the two Camaro drivers fighting since the beginning of the race. And I'm not sure if it even will stay that way till the first pit stop. It's of course a bit about tire management. Maybe Pieper pushed a little bit too hard and now his tires are already failing of some sort, or don't work that well. And Chris Johnston with a problem. Crash with Chris Johnston, and he spun out and hit the wall, and now he has to be very careful. And that was Jan Stange. There's Edgar Steffens and now Johnston got somehow out of the way. Ooh, Stange and Steffens got very, very lucky. So, driving into the S's at the moment, one of the biggest problems for some drivers. And now Chris Johnston is welcomed to the club. Leo Kuhn and Jan Stange already know about this problem. Chris Johnston, now another one, and he hit the wall just in Forrest, or exiting Forrest's elbow. Dropped back to 15th position, and now Andy Goodwin is behind him in the BMW Z4. And the duel on at the top of the field is back on. Robert Wiesenmüller closed the gap for about half a second. Now it's just 1 second difference between the two of them. It's very interesting how much pressure must be there on Alexander Dornin. Well, that's not exactly the camera position I wanted. This is much better. So luckily we have an onboard camera on the Bentley Continental. Oh, slight mistake from Wiesenmüller in Murray's corner. Well, that's important for Dornin, because I think now he made it out of the... or he's far enough so Wiesenmüller can use his slipstream. So there will be no drafting, and uphill this is very important for Dornin to keep Wiesenmüller behind him. That's some impressive work on the steering wheel we see there. But Jeremy Moog is in trouble. Obviously his tires are not working so well anymore, because the Chevy Corvette driver, I think he was ahead of Kilian for about 3 or 4 seconds at least. So that dropped down very quick. And now Kilian is putting pressure on the Dutchman. Let's see if we have one kind of camera perspective. Yep, it's quite strange. We have not the same cameras on every car, so that's because I'm switching through the cameras. It's a bit weird. Well, that's the one I wanted. Biggest problem for Jeremy Moog, I guess, will be understeer by now, which means the car starts sliding with the front tires. And maybe he pushed too hard and the front tires are not working anymore. And you could see how fast Kilian behind him got closer in the slipstream uphill. Nice to see this change of distance through his rear mirror, but there was a slight mistake by Kilian. I think he hit the wall with his right side. So now Mork at least can breathe a little bit. But now there's the same situation again. I think Kilian will still have some of the slipstream and will get closer to Jeremy Mork, but not as much as I thought. So by now Mork can keep his third position. Will be interesting to see when there will be the first pit stops. I actually have no idea how or what kind of strategy these guys are driving. So and here we will see this situation with the slipstream. Oliver Kilian are getting really close to Jeremy Mork, but not as close as he was in the last lap. As you can see, it seems very hard for the drivers to stay off the throttle outside of these corners because they are so long and you have to avoid to slide into the grass or against the wall. I thought there could be an attack, but Oliver Kilian is too far behind Jeremy Mork. No way to attack the Corvette driver in this lap. So he's still staying behind. Let's look, or let's take a look a bit further back, or I wanted to take a look, but we have to stay here now because now the distance is very, very small and this could be the chance for Oliver Kilian. Right at the back of Jeremy Mork and now out of the slipstream, and can he make it? Or going wide, and he gets caught up by the wall, and well, it was a good chance, but Mork did some good defending on the inside line. And now Oliver Kilian is in trouble because Dominic Pieper is showing up again. So very difficult situation for the driver in the yellow Chevrolet Camaro, because if his attacks go wrong, he gets caught by Dominic Pieper. So he has to take a look in both directions. In front Jamie Moog. And behind him in the rear mirror, always Dominic Pieper. There are already some really big gaps further back in the field. We will shortly take a look at that. Dominic Pieper, so behind Oliver Kilian. Markus Walter at 6th position. In some way he's following as kind of a bystander. He's just seeing what's going on in front of him, not letting these guys to get away from him, but he's not getting close enough to make an attack. And there's Christian Seidel, and I already said this is kind of a visual damage. I don't think he will have some problems, but there are other drivers with problems. Not real problems. Tim Hallmann in the pits and Lammert Moog. He just finished his pit stop. The third Ford GT driver in the field. Oh, too fast! Pit exit, and he slams his car into the wall. And what he's doing now, he's stopping. Oh no! Please don't stop the race. There's still the chance to win 1,000 virtual racing points in the lottery if you finish your race. So, Lammert, please don't stop your car. Next pit stop by Georges De Werder, and there's another one, and that's the US driver Chris Johnston in his Corvette. So it looks like there are some classic 3-stop strategies. So at every half an hour we will see some pit stops, I guess, from De Werder, Johnston, as well as Moog and Hallmann. It depends on if Moog will get back into the race or just wait on the grass. I'm not sure what he will do. Thomas Horn right behind Christian Seidel, and that could be his chance to set to make a move against the Mercedes SLS driver. Out of the slipstream, and somehow he is losing power. So that's more evidence that we are seeing some damage on the Mercedes of Seidel, but his car isn't actually damaged. And Mercedes seems to have a little bit more power than the Ford GT. While we were looking at the pit stops, Dominic Pieper passed Oliver Kilian, so I don't know how this happened. Probably on one of the another straights, and there is already some lap driver. That's Michael Hanke, and I hope he realizes that there are some drivers in the lead lap that will pass him now. Yeah, everything worked out. There is a tool drivers can use that will inform you about not only if someone is behind you. This tool also informs if someone next to you on the left or right side. It's like a spotter, from the NASCAR racing series, or just like from NASCAR in general. And this works here on Raceroom Racing Experience, and it's highly recommended to every driver, because you know that if someone moves left or right to you, you can't be in a situation not to see someone and crash into him, because someone tells you that there is someone, and that's a really, really good feature. Oh, and there's the next attack from Kilian. No. He holds back. Probably a little bit scared. Making his attempt on the outside into a chase. Oh, and a mistake from Dominic Pieper. That will make him lose 2 positions. Pieper too aggressive in Murray's corner, and that's what I was talking about, where races sometimes are decided in this final corner. Too late on the brakes, sliding out into the grass, and you lose your position. In this case, even 2 of them. And Markus Walter, one of the happy ones now. It looks a bit like he took more care of his tires, because he's also closing into Oliver Kilian. While we have another pit stop from André G. The Bentley driver is now exiting the pits already on 12th position, and I think he will stay ahead of Andy Goodwin. And this is a fight for 15th position. Chris Johnston on his way back up, attacking the Frenchman from the team LSF in the McLaren. And the McLaren driver is on old tires, while Johnston, you saw it, is on fresh tires. Just had his pit stop 1 lap ago. This isn't over by now. And Johnston not interested in risking a fight in Griffin's Bend. He's just waiting for the problems that Mikael will have in front of him with his tires. I would say it's just a matter of corners until Johnston will pass him. Tim Allman left the server, by the way. He's out of the race. Probably a lack of training, and he decided not to finish this race tonight. Well, so 21 drivers, but Lamet Moog in the Ford GT somewhere waiting in the grass. And next pit stop by Edgar Steffens in the Alpina B6. 12th position right now, and there's the attack from Chris Johnson. Now he's going for it. No, he holds back again. And that's what he was waiting for, the mistake from... I have to guess a little bit. In this case, I think it's Michael Bellet, because there are 2 names mentioned in the name Team LSF. But it's Michael Bellet is listed in the grid. I think it's him who was driving the McLaren, and that was a slight mistake, and I'm pretty sure it's because of the tires. And we have a position change, but that's because of the pit stop of Alexander Dorneden. So Dorneden in the pits. And Lamet Moog put an end to his race. You can see his car parking in the back. So he's out of the race, but he's still he's staying on the server. And Dorneden, quick pit stop. And he gets out right into this fight. Pieper, we will stay behind him. I think he knows that the Audi R8 pilot is faster in every aspect of this race. Fresh tires, and in the turns I don't think Pieper will stand a chance for long, and I hope the Camaro driver knows about it and just lets him pass, because there is no It just doesn't make sense to fight against Dorniden right now. People will lose time. So his chances to attack the guys in front of him will be smaller. Oh, now it's getting really, really difficult because that's Leo Kuhn with problems. Very, very lucky situation for Alexander Dorniden. He tried to attack people and then suddenly on the right side Leo Kuhn in his damaged Ford Mustang showed up. Well, in reality I would be scared as hell. In this case I would just be kind of annoyed. So, and there's the attack from Dorniden. Yep, that worked out. And I think Pieper is going to the pits. No, he is staying out. And Moog in the pits. Yes, the Dutchman in his Corvette is pitting. And that was a little bit longer than the pit stop from Alexander Dorniden. So he might lose even a few positions. It depends on how Kilian and Walter will perform on their pit stops. But that wasn't the best one, I'm pretty sure. Jamie Moog out on 8th position. And Christian Seidel, yeah, that's still the problem. Sometimes we see his car parked at the wall, sometimes the car just disappears, and now it completely disappeared. And it's showing up again. This is totally crazy. I don't know how it is for the drivers behind him. Maybe they don't see him jumping around the track. I'm not sure. And I just thought that Wiesenmüller might be in the pits. But we will stay with him because I think he will go to the pits now. Maybe to try somehow to cover Dorniden's attempt. Ah, no. So I guess he's going for maybe a 45-minute stint in the first run. So I think we will see him in the pits at 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I think 2 more laps. That gives him some ability to adjust his strategy throughout the rest of the race. But I'm not sure if this will work out. So Seidel always jumping through the list. This is kind of crazy. Well, and Michael Handke standing at the wall outside of Griffin's Bend. But he's already back in the race. And we lost another driver. And I already feared that it would be Christian Seidel, but it isn't. But there are some pit stops we have to take a look at first, and that's Thomas Horn. Seidel also pitting, and that looks it would take a little longer. Yeah, Horn passes him, and what about... Oh, Seidel, that was a long stop. Changing tires, and now getting back into the race. But who the hell did we lose now? Oh, someone's just asking how long this race will be going. just a slight information, look on the top of the screen. You see race 1 hour 17 minutes and right now 35 seconds. So this race will still go on for some time. And now I just read the question in the forum how long these cars will go on. Again, that's a special issue with the car of Christian Seidel. With this TV covering we have here with the with our live stream, while Robert Wiesenmüller is in the pits, Dorneden passes him. Whoa, and he passed him way kind of a long time ago. So this, I wonder if this strategy will turn out for Wiesenmüller, because he got even passed by Jeremy Moog. So Wiesenmüller is, he's counting on his tires in the final stages of the race, I'm pretty sure. But to get back to this situation with Christian Seidel's car, if some car is because of a connection issue, we see the car slam into the wall, the car will be damaged for us, the viewers. So on my PC now, where I'm streaming from, I get the information, the visual information, that the car is damaged, but probably Christian Seidel didn't even hit the wall. Just we saw the car, due to the connection loss, hitting the wall. So I think Seidel's car isn't damaged at all, or maybe slightly. So don't be mistaken by seeing this kind of a wreck rolling around. It's a bit difficult to explain. And Michael Bellet is out of the race. The Frenchman, another one out. So we're losing drivers in the last kind of minutes. Michael Bellet out of the race, so 17 drivers left. And there's a fight going on for 8th position between Thomas Horn and André G. André G obviously with a good pit stop. The Bentley driver. And I think Ralf Arella, who is now on 5th position in his BMW Z4, is one of the few who didn't made their pit stop. And Markus Walter the same, didn't make, I'm sorry. What? Thomas Horn with an attempt to attack André G in the chase, but then he hadn't to do it, because now André G opened the door with a slight mistake, and now Thomas Horn up on 8th position. André G behind him, and I don't think he will be able to follow the Ford GT driver for long. Yeah, and of course now I know who the other driver was we lost. That's Michael Hanke, the Roof RT12R driver. He is out of the race and left the server, so he's the one who we won't see at the finish line tonight. Not so many fights at the moment, except for 12th position between Andy Goodwin and Edgar Steffens. Oh, and Goodwin seems to be in trouble. Steffen's definitely faster at the moment. And maybe there will be some viewers now that might be wondering how it could be that an Alpina B6 GT3 fight with a BMW Z4. Oh, and now it's getting very, very close between them. Whoa! Almost contact. And now into chase. Steffen slightly hits Andy Goodwin, but this might work out for Goodwin. Yes. Good defending from the BMW Z4 driver, but nice fighting. And Goodwin is going into the pits. So he probably realized that he can't keep up anymore. And the name down there is not correct. Now there it is. Andy Goodwin now in the pits, and I think he will stay on 14th position because Leo Kuhn is 1.5 minutes behind him. There won't be much going on now. So, oh, we have another pit stop, I think. Yeah, no, it's not a pit stop. Tarek Uzali is out of the race. The initiator of this whole series is out of the race. Looks like he had some problems with his Ford Mustang, and now he's out too. So 16 drivers left in the grid after 50 minutes. So more than 1 hour. We're not even at half time of this race. And now we lost already 7 drivers. Probably Uzali's car with an engine problem. I can't think of anything else because he himself wrote that drivers, if they don't have an engine problem, please stay out in the race and finish it. So I think he probably slammed into the wall or something else happened and his engine just failed. It's the same situation as it was in the first stint. Jerry Moog is keeping up, can't stay ahead of Robert Wiesenmüller in this case. But for how long? Moog had some tire issues after 15 minutes. So his pit stop was earlier than the stop of Robert Wiesenmüller. So I think Wiesenmüller will get the chance to attack and overtake Moog. It's just about how long will these tires work on the Chevrolet Corvette, and I think we will get this answer maybe even right now. But this Corvette is quick, holy moly. Looks like Moog somehow made the wing very, very low, and this wasn't a fine way. British car, but not like British gentleman driving. I think Moog will be a little bit angry about this one. Wiesenmüller very late on the brakes, some slamming into the side of the Corvette, and maybe he will get it back now from Moog, because the Corvette driver is now behind him, and maybe he will try the same. Going on the inside line and late on the brakes. Same thing. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. So now these two guys are on fire. And you could really see how Jerry Moog was trying it desperately to get this position back. But I think now it would be better to control the race and especially take care of the tires, because I don't think Moog will get a chance to follow Wiesenmüller now, except the Bentley driver might have a problem or makes a mistake, but Wiesenmüller rarely makes mistakes. A little bit further back in the field, the old duel is still going on. Oliver Kilian versus Dominic Pieper, and Pieper is following Kilian like a shadow, and it fits the color of the car. But these two guys know each other for a very, very long time when it comes to sim racing. I would say at least 4 or 5 years. So they know exactly what the other one is doing. And probably the Pieper doesn't want to attack Kilian and just follow him and to try to get further ahead. Thomas Horn behind them, and of course getting closer to Ralf Arella, because he's 2 seconds in front of Oliver Kilian. The other BMW Z4, this is Andy Goodwin and not Marcus Walter, so don't be mistaken. Marcus Walter is a bit more ahead of Ralf Arella. Andy Goodwin on 14th position. He will be lapped shortly by this pack of drivers. And because of reasons unknown, Andy Goodwin is kind of out of this race, more or less. He's almost a minute behind Josh de Verda, who's on 13th position. And then Leo Kuhn is 50 seconds behind Andy Goodwin, so this is gonna be a very boring race for Goodwin. But what's going on with Ralf Arella? He lets Oliver Kilian pass for some reason. That was not an attack. Ralf Arella slowed down on the Conrad straight to let Kilian pass. Maybe something happened later on. No, Arella is going into the pits. So I don't know why he is actually letting Kilian pass. That doesn't make any sense, because he would have had enough time to get into the pits. But Ralf Arella in the pits 3.5 minutes before halftime of this race, and Arella, let's see how long this pit stop will take. Thomas Horn passing him. It looks like Arella is trying to make a one-stop strategy, but he's a little bit too early in the pits, so this might be difficult to achieve. Edgar Steffens would be the next one, coming on 11th position. I don't know if Arella, how long it will take. Arella, of course, I think this pit stop will take a little longer because of refueling. And Arella's out on 11th position behind Edgar Steffens and just in front of Chris Johnston. So we are back with the Corvette driver from the US. But Arella has the advantage of fresh tires right now. But I think because he refueled his Z4 a lot, so this car might be a little heavier. Chris Johnson, his tires, I think they are on optimal, on the best temperature, so he might have a chance, at least in the first 2 laps of Arella after his pit stop, to pass him. Well, but there was a slight mistake in the S's, and that was it. Through the dipper and Forrest's elbow. Drafting a little bit, but this won't be enough. No way for Chris Johnston to attack Ralph Arella at this situation. Yeah, just coming back to what I was saying about the Alpina B6 and Z4, how it's possible that different cars from different seasons can drive together. It's called the GTR3 Endurance Series and not the, for example, GT3 ADAC Masters or something like this. And so there's a GTR3 class in Race Room Racing Experience, while Chris Johnston gets ahead of Ralph Arella. Ralph Arella tries to fight back, but no chance for the BMW Z4 driver Chris Johnston on 11th position now. So there's a GTR3 class you can choose in Race Room Racing Experience, and there are all GT3 cars included. So not only the current GT3 class cars, but the other cars too, and that includes the Alpina B6, which is out of GT3 racing for a long time. And there's the pit stop of Markus Walter, and he didn't stop so far, so he's at the same strategy as Ralph Arella, but there's some problem with Chris Johnston. Very slow, was standing, and now he's back in the race, but there was a spin or something in the S's from him. Wouldn't have been his first one. So Arella passed him, and Georges de Werder is also in front now. But Johnston didn't lose too much time. And there's Joe Snyder in the pits, and this is André G. So the drivers that are following the 30-minute strategy, 3-stop strategy, coming into the pits again. Snyder has already been lapped by André G, so there is no change in position. Joe Snyder on 16th place now, and André G is... Oh, this is a very, very long pit stop. So I think now everyone is refueling. And that's why G is dropping down in the field, in the grid. But I think he will stay ahead of Andy Goodwin. Yeah, now tires get changed, and he's back in the race on 13th place. Markus Walter back in the race on 8th position now, behind Christian Seidel, 5.5 seconds. So we can go back to this everlasting fight between Oliver Kilian and Dominic Pieper. I wonder how long this will be going on, especially when we will see the next pit stops, which should come up soon for these two. Yeah, I can already see in the chat, because there were some questions if there's only a GT3 series, and already some links are shown where you can go. There's a lot of going on with Race Room Racing Experience. If you're not satisfied with what you can see on these links, just use Google. Or if you want to see something else about Race Room Racing Experience there, just follow my YouTube link you can find below the stream. There are some more recordings of Race Room Racing Experience races, not only with the GT3 cars, but also with some of the old 1992 DTM cars and so on. So I can just encourage you, just check my YouTube channel where you can find a lot of more streams. If you're interested to see a little bit more, and maybe if you're interested to see the first race of this GTR3 Endurance series, because of course the recording is also uploaded there. But by now, of course, stay with this live stream and watch the YouTube recording later. We, of course, every one of us, I think, wants to know who will finish first, because Robert Wiesenmüller is getting closer to Alexander Dorniden, which of course is because of the later tire change of Wiesenmüller, so he will have the better tires right now. Oh, and Wiesenmüller is getting closer to Dorniden very, very fast. One second within 2 sectors. So by now his strategy seems to work. And Wiesenmüller will be able to stay out much longer than Alexander Dorniden. Ja. Wiesenmüller just lapped Josh Snyder again. But Snyder is still in the race, not giving up. That's great to see. Yeah, I just figured out there might be an issue with the link to YouTube. Just take out the S behind HTTP. I think that will solve the problem. I will fix that later. That's sometimes a problem. I didn't think about that when I included the YouTube link. It's not so long ago since I did that, so sorry for that. Just remove the S behind HTTP. That should solve this problem. If not, just let me know. I'm watching the chat, of course. And what's going on with Dawn Eden? Dawn Eden in the pits again. So that's what I just missed. I'm sorry. By checking the chat. Dawn Eden in the pits a little bit earlier than I expected. So, excuse me. And Jeremy Mook is in the pits too. So this is going to be interesting. How long is Dawn Eden in the pits? Of course, refueling his Audi R8. And now he's back on 4th position behind Oliver Kilian and Dominic Pieper, but that's just normal because the 2 Camaro drivers will have to pit soon. And now Jeremy Moog finished his probably last stop, and that means he will have to drive 50 more minutes on these tires. I'm not sure if he's going to do this or if he will make another pit stop. And he just came out behind Leo Kuhn, who is 1 lap behind. Okay, the link seems to work. Maybe there was a misunderstanding from me. Good to know. But now back to the race. So Dawn Eden on fresh tires, trying to get closer to Dominic Pieper, which shouldn't be so difficult because the Camaro is on old tires. And Edgar Steffens seems to be in trouble. No, he's not in trouble, but he was standing for a moment. So I don't know if his pit stop is already finished. Looks like it. Yes. Edgar Steffens lost his 11th position to Andre G and is now back in the race ahead of Chris Johnston in the Chevrolet Corvette. Yeah, it's good to see that even after more than an hour of racing in Bathurst, some drivers are still very close to each other. Johnston only 1 second behind him, so these pit stops always mixing up the field, but bringing drivers back together again. Now down the Conrad straight, and it looks like Steffens can keep Johnston behind him. As you can see, these GT3 cars are reaching about 280 kilometers per hour when they come down to braking into this chicane. I can't think of a lot of other tracks where you can do this. And Dorniden passed not only Dorniden, Thomas Horn, they both passed Oliver Kilian, and it didn't look to me like Kilian was in the pits, but maybe I just missed that, but his car is damaged, so I think Kilian made a mistake, because his pit stop must have been taken much longer than just a few seconds. Oh, this is better for Oliver Kilian. Oh, some sliding out of the last corner, but he is used to that kind of driving, so that's not a big deal for him. Driving with a slight drift. But of course his tires won't like that. That puts Dominic Pieper into second place, followed by Alexander Dorniden, Thomas Horn on fourth. But there are a lot of drivers that still have to pit at least once. This should be the first time for about half an hour or maybe 45 minutes that Dominic Pieper can drive freely with no one ahead of him. He sometimes has to take care of. And there is the next pit stop by the Belgian driver, Georges de Werder. And as you can see, his Mercedes is refueled too, so that's why these second pit stops take a lot longer than the first ones. And they just change tires. De Werder overtaken by André G, Chris Johnston and Edgar Steffens. That's Joe Snyder, the lapped Alpina driver. And he even slowed down to not even to fight with Georges de Werder, which is a smart move because it doesn't make any sense to fight against him. Oh, and there is another, again, talking about fights, that's Oliver Kilian against Jeremy Moog. And something seems to be wrong with this Camaro of Oliver Kilian. Probably messed up his strategy or something, I don't know. And there will be a position change soon between Dominic Pieper and Alexander Dorniden, because Alexander Dorniden is on fresh tires, while Dominic Pieper, I think it's about 30 minutes by now, talking about his tires, and he even slowed a little bit down to let Alexander Dorniden pass. No fighting there between the two of them. Dorniden is now about 45 seconds behind Robert Wiesenmüller. Yeah, Wiesenmüller still has to pit again. He was one of the last to pit, except for Ralf Varela and Markus Walter, who really stayed out for their first stint for a long time. Wiesenmüller had his pit stop about 45 minutes, while Dorniden, his first one was 30 minutes into the race, the second one was after 1 hour, so this will be interesting. Because Dorniden, I don't think he will make it with one stint, so he will have to pit again one more time too, and Wiesenmüller has to refuel his Bentley, so this will be very interesting. Who will be in first place at the end of this race? It's all about strategy. And that's the great thing about that kind of endurance racing, 2 hours race, and you can work with your strategy. It's not only being fast, it's how you work with your tires. It's about fuel management. So there's a lot more thinking behind the racing than if you're just doing a sprint race for 30 minutes or so. Not much going on the racetrack by now. There were some fights going on between Johnston and Steffens, but that's over by now. Steffens lost a little bit of time against Johnston. Johnston is 3 seconds behind Andre G, but that's kind of he keeps it that way, so there's no real attacking. Oliver Kilian 5 seconds behind Jeremy Moog, just to talk about the small differences, and that's been it. So, Pieper in the pits. And now he has to refuel his Camaro, as everyone else had to do it with their cars after their second pit stop. So Pieper and I think Kilian too are on a 2-stop strategy, though, so that's been it. No more pit stops for Dominic Pieper. As long as there's nothing going wrong. Oh, and Pieper too fast at the pit exit and slams his car on the left side into the wall. So there was some wheel spin. Well, a little bit too eager. Going back on the track as fast as possible. But he stays ahead of Markus Walter even after his slight mistake. But there's another one. Yeah, the tires may be a little bit too cold. Sliding out in Griffin's Bend. And Markus Walter gets into 7th position with his BMW Z4. And Walter won't go into the pits again because he stayed out very, very long. And Pieper's Camaro is very, very heavy. While there's another pit stop. Thomas Horn pitting for the last time. And now Kilian is coming in too. And again, we don't exactly know what happened. There must have been a mistake somewhere up on the hill by him, which let him fall back behind Pieper and Horn. And not only him, he's dropping down in the field even more. Maybe Ralf Varela will pass him, and Ralf Varela doesn't have to stop anymore because he was in the same strategy as Markus Walter. with the one-stop strategy. And there he is. Ralf Arella on 8th position, passing Oliver Kilian. Of course, Kilian will have the upper hand at the end of the race because of the better tires. And now there's the second pit stop of Robert Wiesenmüller. Can he stay ahead of Alexander Dorniden? And especially, how will this turn out at the end of the race? There's still fuel running into that tank. And now Wiesenmüller changing tires. And I think Dorniden will pass him. Very, very close. There he is. Hell corner, first corner for Alexander Dorniden. And he's coming out right behind Wiesenmüller. And Wiesenmüller came out a little bit better than Dorniden, who slid a little bit into the grass, and that cost him traction. And now he is in second position behind Wiesenmüller. And Wiesenmüller has the upper hand now with better tires, leading the race. No more stop for the Bentley Continental GT3 driver. And this might have been the most important move for Wiesenmüller in this entire race. Impressive driving and a very interesting strategy. And now I wonder, will this work? It has to. But there's still a lot of things that can go wrong in 35 minutes. Mistake, a crash. So Wiesenmüller has to keep concentrated for these entire 35 minutes. Otherwise, this win he has at his hands can still be lost. Now we will take a look further back, because this is a fight. I think Wiesenmüller has a lot more chances to win this race than Alexander Dorniden because of the better tires of Wiesenmüller. And that's Edgar Steffens letting these two incredible racers pass, while Andy Goodwin, no, he's not in the pits. Andy Goodwin standing outside of Forrest's elbow, if I'm not mistaken, in the wrong direction, and the engine is off. No more power in this BMW Z4. Oh, and there's a duel going on between Ralf Arella and Chris Johnson. No, not Chris Johnson, Oliver Kilian. And it's not, it's actually at the end of Conrad Straight, after this slide kink to the right into the chase. That's where Goodwin is standing, and maybe he ran out of fuel. It looks like it. But no more sound from this car. I don't know, maybe he's hoping that there's someone coming up and pushes him into the pits. Maybe he has some contact with one of the drivers that are far behind, like Leo Kuhn or Joe Snyder, that won't get any positions anyway. So I don't know what he's going to do. And I'm not sure if the simulation will take him off the track in a few seconds. Not sure about that. Let's see where Leo Kuhn and Joe Snyder. Leo Kuhn, he's far away from there, and Joe Snyder just coming down Conrad Straight. So if he can hear me somehow, maybe watch out, there's a BMW Z4 waiting. Maybe you can push him into the pits. Nobody won't. And that's a very, very dangerous position. And Andy Goodwin is out of the race. And that because of such sad coincidences. Some kind of mistake with the fuel management, and Andy Goodwin is out. Maybe there was a problem with the pit stop and he didn't get refueled, and so he had to try to go for another lap, and that didn't work out. Andy Goodwin out of the race about half an hour before the finish. So 15 drivers left. Goodwin, Huzaril and Moog are already out of the race in the pits. Just to inform you about the 3 last drivers in these 18 driver list you can see on the left. Edgar Steffens fighting with André G for 11th position. Ahead of them, Chris Johnston. Johnston with the Corvette created a little bit of a gap between him and André G. And of course he's hoping that Steffens and G will get into a fight so he can pull even further away. There's someone mentioning that these guys on the track they are driving here are behind their steering wheel since 7 p.m. Yeah, that's correct. Of course, some might waited for the qualifying to come up and didn't drive the practice, but anyway the practice started at 7:30 p.m. Central European time, of course. So these guys are at least driving for 2 hours straight by now if they drove the entire qualification, and the guys who were driving practice ahead of this at least driving now for 2.5 hours. And there's still half an hour to go. Oh, and Joe Snyder in the pits. His last pit stop. Yeah, all the 3 stop strategy drivers will come to the pits soon, I think. And Joe Snyder is the first one. And he's definitely driving for his own, on his own, and especially he's one of the drivers who are just interested in finishing a 2-hour race. And I think that's one thing is to finish this long race at all is one thing, and then fighting for positions is second. Everyone who makes it through these 2 hours is some kind of a hero, especially in Bathurst. So Joe Snyder, I think, even though it's 15th position and the last position of the ones that are still driving, he kind of will be happy about it, just finishing a race of that kind of long distance. Back to the action. Edgar Steffens on 12th position, now very close to Andre G. Johnston pulled away even further from Andre G, now about 6 seconds ahead of him. And Alexander Dornheden is losing time against Robert Wiesenmüller. That's what was expected due to the pit strategy. Now Wiesenmüller's tires are working much better than the ones on Alexander Dorneden's Audi R8. And now we can see that on the time difference. Well, we are running out of race action actually. This is the only fight we have by now. And it doesn't look like it will change much in these last 25 minutes. It's for Andre G to keep up the concentration, not to lose this 11th position. Yeah, and final pit stop for Edgar Steffens. That's quite late. How about Andre G? He's staying out. And there's Georges de Verda with his Mercedes SLS, the Belgian driver, now passing Edgar Steffens. And I'm not sure if these two, G and de Verda, have to pit at all. I don't think so they can stay out, and that means Edgar Steffens probably loses these two positions definitely. So it's not like the other two ahead of him might pit one more time too. They will stay out, and that means Steffens might have to consider that this 13th position is final. While we're with Leo Kuhn, the Swiss driver with the Australian flag. Who made it to stay ahead of Jos Snyder. but it's far behind Edgar Steffens. Josh Schneider still running on 15th. And one of the closest situations right now is Markus Walter behind Dominic Pieper. There we can see the black Chevy Camaro. And Markus Walter just 2 seconds behind him. That's very interesting because Walter had his only pit stop at about halftime of the race. So his tires should be much worse than the tires on Dominic Pieper's Camaro, but it looks like Walter can cope with that quite good at the moment. But he's losing time anyway. So there's another fight coming. At least I get the feeling. And that's Georges de Werder closing into André G very, very fast. There was about 5 seconds just 1 lap ago. Now it's 1.5 seconds. So something is either wrong with André G or maybe Georges de Werder found another turbo in his Mercedes. I'm not sure. But the, by now, outdated car. Oh, and there he is, too fast. And can he make it? Whoa, good save. Very good save from Georges de Werder. Almost hit the wall. And that would have been it, I think. I just said outdated because the current GT3 model from Mercedes, of course, is the AMG GT. Which followed this one, the Mercedes SLS AMG. So Georges de Werder made a slight mistake in for his elbow, so he dropped a little bit back behind André G. Lost about 1.5 seconds, but there's enough time to get back. Oh, slight drift. So his tires seem to disintegrate, and he's feeling it. There's another interesting situation when it comes to the leader, Robert Wiesenmüller. He keeps the distance to Alexander Dornin about 3 seconds, so I'm not sure if we just can get away from Dornin or if he's controlling this distance just because of the tires. Because Dornin's tires must have been in a much worse condition than those on Robert Wiesenmüller's Bentley, so I'm very surprised that the distance isn't changing much. And Chris Johnston at his final pit stop. And that means he will fall back behind Andre G and I guess George de Werder too. Even though it will be quite close. But stay ahead of Edgar Steffens. Chris Johnston now on 12th position, 5.5 seconds behind George de Werder. So, yeah, there could still something happen in the last 16.5 minutes. I, of course, will keep an eye on that, and till then, go back to Markus Walter. He closed the gap a little bit again to Dominic Pieper. It's about 1.5 seconds by now. So obviously the BMW Z4 is running better and better because he's getting lighter. Of course, lesser fuel means lesser weight in the car. And the Z4 seems to run very, very well at the moment. While the Camaro of Dominic Pieper, there seems to be wrong. Because he's very, very slow. In comparison, of course, very, very slow. Maybe that's the wrong description for the situation, but he's slower than usual. Let's put it at that. And the Camaro still has enough power to get away from the Z4 of Markus Walter, so it's a difficult situation for Walter because he can't attack Pieper in the slipstream on the long straight, and he can't attack Pieper in the S's and all the turns up the hill because it's so narrow, and the Camaro is well, quite big. Ahead of them, that's Chris Johnston. Who is closing in to George de Werder. So George de Werder lost more and more time to Andre G, and there's a change in positions. Oliver Kilian passed Thomas Horn on the mountain straight uphill, and that means Kilian used the slipstream and used the power of the Chevy Camaro to pass Thomas Horn in his Ford GT, and Kilian is on 6th position, 21 seconds behind Markus Walter, so there won't be happen much more. Means we can go back to this fight, and there are fights coming up all over the place. Christian Seidel in his Mercedes attacking Ralf Arella, and he passed him. Christian Seidel up to 8th position. The visually totally wrecked Mercedes, which obviously isn't damaged at all, made it past the Z4 of Ralf Arella. One reason is that Arella's pit stop was a long time ago, so his tires won't work as well as those on Christian Seidel's Mercedes. And Seidel passed him at the end of the mountain straight, so he did the same as Oliver Kilian did with Thomas Horn. And all of a sudden it's a lot is going on the track right now. So the situation changed in this last 13 minutes. Chris Johnston attacking George de Werder. That's the same situation as we had with Kilian and Horn and Seidel and Arella. but Johnson can't make the move against Josh de Werder at the end of Mountain Straight and stays behind him in his Corvette. Someone is saying in the chat that this wreck bug must be fixed. So, well, at the moment it seems like the damage calculation is done on the PC. You're playing, so even though someone else crashes into the wall, it's calculated on your PC instead of the the damage the actual driver sees is passed to all the other players due to the connection. So that's the main issue. And Racing Experience isn't the only game with this problem, if you see it as a problem. And there was a chance for Chris Johnson to attack de Werder at the entrance to the chase, but we've seen that Johnson is a very careful driver. He's holding back a lot, and even if it looks like there's a clear chance to overtake, he slows down and is very, very careful. He knows about this 2-hour racing, that this is a long distance, and it doesn't make any sense to attack very hard. And I just got the information from Tariq Uzali why he's out of the race. He ran out of fuel, so I think he's not the only one. Andy Goodwin, who left the server some time ago, looked like he also had no more fuel. Oh, slight mistake from Johnson. I think he's pushing too much right now. He wants too much. He wants to attack de Werder, and now he's paying for it. This was too fast. Oh, and there's a problem now for Walter and Pieper. And did they pass him safely? Yeah, it was very, very close. And that's been it for Johnston. 12th position, and he has to be careful because there's Edgar Steffens coming up behind him probably, but very lucky situation for Dominic Pieper and Markus Walter that there didn't happen some kind of crash. Dominic Pieper still can depend on the power of the Chevrolet Camaro when it comes to the up and down hill straight here on Mount Panorama circuit. That keeps him alive on his 4th position. Wiesenmüller is pulling away from Dorniden finally. So this is over 2 by now, and Edgar Steffens is losing a lot of time to Chris Johnson, so the Alpina B6 driver doesn't look like he will have a chance to get up to 12th position. He's just a little bit too slow right now. 8 seconds behind Johnson at the moment. Well, it's a classic situation you have in sim racing. There's, if you are a commentator, I think every commentator can relate to that. Either there's nothing going on the track, or everywhere is something going on. So that's what we had for a few minutes ago. Like 3 fights all over the track. And now silence. Or kind of a silence. De Werder, who was close to Andre G for some time, is now about 5 seconds behind him, and that's Jos Snyder, the Dutchman in the Alpina behind him, but he is by now 4 laps behind. So maybe Snyder is just studying De Werder's racing line. Trying to figure out to at least get a little faster at the end of the race. Maybe he made some mistakes on the setup. That could be another reason why he's not fast enough. Sometimes it's not only the driver, it could be some mistake on the setup that makes you slow, or means you have to be very careful in the corners because your car tends to oversteer, or you made the car you were following kind of a safe. You want to finish the race as safe as possible, so you build your setup more like an understeering car, and that makes it difficult to go fast through the corners. And if you're steering too hard with an understeering car, you damage your front tires faster than the others. So there's more and more coming together, and that slows you down even more. Pretty sure that's one of the several reasons. But by now it looks like he's finishing the race, and that's something not everyone can say when this event is over. De Werder still not giving up, trying to get close to Andre G, but his time is running out. Where's Robert Wiesenmüller? Just lapped Ralf Arella. And he's at 4 behind him. Wiesenmüller 6 seconds ahead of Dorniden. And it looks like we will have 2 more laps after this one. So will that be enough for someone to start another attack against someone? I don't think so. Walter is dropping a little bit behind Dominic Pieper, 2.5 seconds at the moment. And they just passed Chris Johnston. That might have been another reason. And now Johnston is even driving a little bit faster than Walter, which of course is because Johnston had his last pit stop about 25 minutes ago, and Walter had his last pit stop about 50 or 55 minutes ago. So it's because of the tires. But Johnston knows that there's no reason, and it doesn't make any sense to attack Walter now. Just stay behind him and finish the race. De Werder can't close the gap to Andre G. So we are just waiting till this man, Robert Wiesenmüller, finishes this race. And it would be a classic endurance race win. He couldn't keep up, or he couldn't pass Alexander Dorniden on the track, but he passed him due to his pit stop strategy. And by now it's more than 9 seconds he pulled away from him since his last stop. So there's a problem with Pieper. Pieper with another stop. Oh, looks like he made a mistake with his fuel management, and Dominic Pieper is in the pits again 2 minutes before the finish of this race, and Dominic Pieper dropped down to 6th position. Markus Walter up to 4th, and even Oliver Kilian could pass him. Oh, there was some little miscalculation obviously when it comes to fuel, and Dominic Pieper had to do a splash and dash 2 minutes before the end of the race. Well, now maybe some other drivers get a bit scared and check their fuel gauges, if they can make it. Wiesenmüller at the mountain straight, so it's now about 5.5 kilometers to go for him until his race is over. Christian Seidel ahead of him. I think Seidel will let him pass, so he doesn't have to drive another lap. But De Werder is staying ahead of him, so he maybe is counting on a problem by the drivers ahead of him. And Chris Johnston got passed by Edgar Steffens in the final lap. Where is Robert Wiesenmüller? And I can see why Seidel is still out. He is just less than 2 seconds behind Thomas Horn. Maybe he's counting on problems by Thomas Horn, but this is the win of Robert Wiesenmüller. Congratulations. Very impressive racing, and especially his pit stop strategy was the factor for his win. Alexander Dorniden couldn't keep up at the end, but 2nd position. Congratulations too. And now it's getting very interesting because Christian Seidel attacking Thomas Horn. Some of the fights are still not over, and Horn has some problems obviously. Seidel, which just looks really, really strange with this very, very damaged car, visually damaged car. Where's Chris Johnston behind Steffens? Somehow Steffens made it past the could pass the Corvette driver. I don't know. I have no idea how this worked out. Probably a mistake by Johnston in the final lap. It's very it's the least moment in the race where you want to make a mistake. Jeremy Mook by now finished 2 on 3rd position, and he completes the podium. But we are going back to the fight between Johnston and Steffens, but it will work out for Steffens. Steffens will finish on 12th position, while Johnston on 13th. Not Chris Johnston, this is Markus Walter. Finished 2 on 4th position. Then there's Oliver Kilian on 5th, who is probably very thankful because of the management problems, fuel management problems of Dominic Pieper. You can hear the engine isn't working well. I think it will stop very soon. Pieper on 6th position, and Christian Seidel actually passed Thomas Horn and made it on 7th. Thomas Horn is 8th, and that's been it. Ralf Varela on 9th position, Andre G 10th, Georges de Verda 11th, Edgar Steffens on 12th, Chris Johnson 13th, Leo Kuhn 14th, and Joyce Snyder finishes on 15th position. That's been it with this second round of the GTR3 Endurance Series. And now we have to wait a little moment until we get to the lottery. So because we know 4 drivers can win 1,000 virtual racing points, and till then please stand by, wait a moment, and we will back in hopefully a minute or so, and not much longer. So, short break, and see you in a minute. So, we're back, and everyone is here who finished the race. So, to everyone, congratulations for finishing a 2-hour race. I know this is hard, I did this myself. So, congratulations for finishing. And before we start the lottery, some short questions maybe to these 2 drivers who kind of dominated the race. First of all, Robert Wiesenmüller, congratulations for the win. On the racetrack, it didn't look like you could attack Alexander Dorneden on kind of a consequent basis, like passing him, but then there was the pit strategy that put you in front and you could pull away. Was this what you was counting on your strategy?
Well, I was pretty sure which strategy I was trying to run. That was the two-stop strategy, and the stint should be more or less the same length because I wanted to avoid driving the car with really worn tires. And I also felt like if I do a 3-stop, then I lose too much time in the pits. So I just decided on my strategy, and I just thought, well, either it's going to be enough or not. And actually, I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't get the pole position because Alex did a nice lap, and then in the beginning of the race, he was ahead of me. And I tried to attack him at first, but yeah, he slightly pulled away towards the end of the first stint, and then it became clear that we are on slightly different strategies. And Alex also had a mistake, in his second stint, and that gave me the edge. And then for the last stint, I came out of like a second in front of him out of the pits, and I was really surprised that he drove that fast in the last stint on his worn tires, because my tires were much better, but we were really battling it out with driving 2 or 3s all the time, and yeah, I couldn't really relax. But in the end, maybe my strategy, but also the mistake, it gave me the necessary time so I could bring it home.
Okay, so we didn't see the mistake on in camera, so that's might be the reason why we're a little bit yeah, curious now how this happened in the end. Robert, if I'm not mistaken, first time at the GTR3 Endurance Series, so kind of interested for the next race. Will we see you in the next run?
I didn't really know what the next race is, so maybe. It was definitely fun. It's a bit exhausting though. My back hurts a little bit, and I was sweating a lot during the race. So I don't know if I want to do this every day, but is it in 2 weeks, the next race, or when is it?
Next month.
Next month.
Next month, so yeah. I think I will be
So-
interested again.
Your back will be healed.
And the next race will be the Hungaroring. So, any words to this, or what do you think?
Well, that's not my favorite track. I prefer Bathurst, but it could be fun. It's a track that I've never really driven in a race, so it could be quite interesting.
Okay, so probably we will see you there in 1 month at the Hungaroring. But so far, Robert Wiesenmüller, congratulations for
Thank you.
this victory tonight at the GTR3 Endurance Series race in Bathurst. And another interview with I would like to have with Alexander Dorneden, because Alexander, congratulations to the pole position and the second place. I don't know, are you satisfied with the position, or a little bit disappointed that at the end it is only the second place?
Well, of course I'm a bit disappointed, but Robert did no mistake at all, so it's fine for me. We had a nice battle at the beginning, and yeah, I had the problem that I was a bit... I was not concentrated enough, and I missed the brake point after the long straight. And I tried to brake in the car, and then there was an overlapped car, and yeah, it was kind of miscommunication, I think. And then I went to the outside, and I completely run into the gravel, and I lost like I think 10 seconds or something. And yeah, and after that I pushed hard, because I know that Robert was on another strategy, and yeah, couldn't do anything in the last stint because my tires were too worn. But yeah, it was a really fun race. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, maybe I will compete in the next race as well.
Yeah, it was your first race at this series too. We haven't seen you on the Sachsenring about 2 months ago, so maybe in 1 month Hungaroring. Do you see it kind of the same way like Robert Wiesenmüller, or is this more is it more your track, the Hungaroring?
Well, I like the track. I drove a 1 hour race with the Formula Racing 2 on it, and yeah, I really like it. So I think I will be interested in that race. So yeah.
Okay, so maybe we will see you there too. Alexander Dorneden, congratulations to the second place, even though you are a little bit disappointed. And thanks for the interview. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming up to the lottery, and I have everything prepared except for the exact standings. I don't know if someone has them at hand. I couldn't take a picture of it because I realized my program wasn't installed. Excuse me?
Hello, you're speaking with Moke.
Okay.
I'm very glad with it.
Yeah, but okay. So if you want to say something to your race, yeah, you are the last one on the podium, and I remember you from the race in the Sachsenring, and there wasn't so much success for you. Now with the Corvette on third position, yeah, sounds like you're very happy about that.
Yeah, very happy. But the leader, the two in the front are very fast. So it was like 50 seconds or more, I think. But it was a lot of fun. I had some mishaps. I was off track like 2 times, but it was minor, and the rest was like, getting on the gas and keep on concentrating was difficult, especially with the pit stop presets and everything, because I made a misjudgment. So I left off with 27 liters in my car, but it was no problem because I couldn't catch the first two. So congratulations to them. And with this, yeah, it was a very fun race, and I had to make a very long stint at the end with like almost 100 liters of fuel and only one set of tires to keep up with the rest. So it was very challenging, and I'm very happy that I became third finally. So that's it.
Yeah, we will see you in the next race on the Hungaroring. I think maybe you've been in the race on the Sachsenring, now on Bathurst. So
No, I didn't make that one. I was with the Sandford race.
oh
but,
yeah, okay.
Then I spun off at the third corner, I think. So so that was a disappointing race. So but this is much better.
yeah. So we will see you in the race on the Hungaroring.
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay, that's a quick and concrete answer. Okay, so yeah, so thank you,
Thank you too.
and of course for the interview. So, but now we will come to the lottery, and I have everything ready, and let's see. So 15 drivers finished the race, and 4 of them will get 1,000 virtual racing points. And okay, so I got the 7th position. That was, I think,
Yeah, that's me again. Last race when
The
I was
shadow.
on 3rd position and got back to 5th, I got 1000 VRP2 for the 5th position then.
okay.
Congratulations.
I see you have a different name in TeamSpeak. Just help me out, please.
Yes, I'm Christian Seidel.
Okay, so Christian Seidel with the curious-looking Mercedes. I will explain that to you later. 1,000 virtual racing points for you again. So you are one of the lucky guys, obviously, in the GTR3 Endurance series. Then we have position number 10. So who completed the top 10?
AG.
Yeah, yeah, right. I remember. So Josh De Werder. So congratulations. It's 1,000 virtual racing points for you too.
No.
No. 11 was George,
Okay.
and 10 was AG. Is the name, I guess. AG.
Yeah, and Andre G. Yeah, of course.
Andre
yeah.
G.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. So I was, I was a little bit.
Damn it!
So Andre G. Of course. Okay, Andre G. Congratulations, 1,000 virtual racing points for you. I don't know. Are you there?
Nope.
Okay, he's not there. Then. Okay, so Alexander Dornin, 2nd position. You get 1,000 virtual racing points too. So there's one. You got kind of lucky with your 2nd place.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
I'll take a picture later of this, so everyone can control that I'm not kind of mixing or just thinking thinking up these numbers. So last one is position 13, and that was Edgar Steffens, if I'm not mistaken. Or was
You are
it?
mistaken. It was C. Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah, it was Johnson.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
Johnston.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know there was a position change very late in the race, I think. So you got kind of lucky with that one. Chris Johnson, 1,000 virtual racing points for you too.
Thank you, Sebastian. Good race, Steffens.
Thank you.
Ganz kurz, Arthur Spooner, Alexander Dornin, wer war es noch jetzt? André G.
Yeah,
Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
and C. Johnston.
Yes, Johnston.
Ah, Chris Johnson, okay.
So, I think we are finished, and so though we are finished also with the race for tonight and our broadcast, of course. Next month, 18th of September, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's the 18th September. Then it will be Hungaroring with maybe 40 drivers. That's what's possible. So maybe a little bit more drivers than today on Bathurst. And till then, thanks for watching, and see you then, and bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Great.
Vielen,
User
vielen Dank nochmal an
disconnected from
Tarek für
your channel.
alles.